Imperfecto. No pretérito.
Hola, me llamo Miles Jones.
Me llamo Tim. We are your profesores.
Yes.
We're gonna give you the knowledge about imperfecto. Don't get it mixed up with pretérito.
Conazar.
Imperfecto. So you may be asking yourself, what is imperfecto? You know, you may have a basic understanding. It's obviously past tense. You know, it's not pretérito though. They're very different. Imperfecto. What you use imperfecto for is you explain it with a previous action, what someone used to do, what someone was doing, descriptions in the past, time, weather, date, emotions, and age. Whenever you use verbs to describe these types of previous actions, you change them around a little bit. You change some of the ending letters depending on what conjugation there is. And there's also stem changing any irregulars that we'll go over eventually. But that's basically just what imperfecto is. So yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get some examples. Imperfect endings. So some imperfect endings for AR verbs are aba, abas, aba, abamos, abais, and aban. For ER-IR endings, it is ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, ian.
Some examples of this could be with we'll just use some commonly used verbs such as tener. It's basically they're not really irregular, so you basically just follow the same rules that apply. So tenía, tenías, tenía, teníamos, tenías, and tenían. And we'll say, and we'll also say jugar, so changing what they changed to.
Juaba, juabas, juaba, juabamos, juabais, juaban.
There's only 3 irregular verbs. The first one is ir, and that is to go. Like if you're going somewhere, you use the verb ir. And basically, what those verbs change to is iba, ibas, iba, ibamos, ibais, and iban.
All right, another irregular verb is ser. So ser basically means to be, and that verb will be era, eras, era, eramos, erais, and eran.
All right, the last irregular verb is ver, and that is to watch. And those conjugate to veía, veías, veía, veíamos, veías, and veían.
Señor Escalera. Hola.
Hola. The one big thing between imperfecto and pretérito is one, the actions you use to describe them. And with imperfecto, there are no stem changing or spelling issues, unlike pretérito, where there's multiple stem changing that changes up the spelling of different verbs. But in imperfecto, there are no stem changing verbs.
Go ahead.
All right, so imperfecto again is describing actions that are repeated or are usual that you do on an occurrence. Los sábados yo jugaba con mi vecino. And that means on Saturdays I played with my neighbor. So that's imperfecto because you say on Saturdays. So you're basically referring to all the future Saturdays and the Saturdays in the past that you play with your neighbor.
Usualmente, el llegaba temprano is another example of using imperfecto in a sentence. And this means he usually arrived early. This is something that is done consistently and is not a completed action. That's why it's imperfecto.
All right, another example of imperfect is Isabella tenía 8 años. And that means Isabella was 8 years old. And it is imperfect because imperfect touches on age. And we're talking about Isabella's age. And it was also in the past.
Another example of imperfect is era la una de la mañana. And that's imperfect because mañana is time.
Another example of imperfect is when you would say something like La ciudad era vieja y sucia. And that means the city is old and dirty, or was old and dirty. And this is imperfecto because it's talking about a place in the past. So it's talking about the city being old and dirty. That was in the past. So you would use imperfecto.
Another example of imperfect is La Serenita se llamaba Ariel y tenía seis hermanas. And this means the Little Mermaid was named Ariel, and she had 6 sisters. And this is imperfect because it gives background information.
Another example of imperfect showing that a usual action would be mi madre siempre me preparaba desayuno, and this means my mom would always prepare breakfast for me. And this is imperfecto because it was in the past, and it's like an ongoing, like a usual occurring thing, but it's saying my mom would always prepare breakfast, and so the word always in there would make it imperfecto.
Another example for imperfect is Rosa hacía su tarea a la 9. This basically means Rosa was doing her homework at 9, and this is imperfect because it talks about an ongoing action.
Another example of an ongoing action where you use imperfecto is yo dibujaba el lunes por la mañana, and that is I was drawing Monday morning. So that was in the past because you're talking about what you did on Monday morning, and it's imperfecto because you're talking about an ongoing action too. So that's when you would use that tense.
Okay, so an ongoing repeated action that is imperfect is almorzamos cada día. Alright, and this means we used to eat lunch together every day.
Another example of a repeated action that you use imperfect for would be todos los sábados mujeres iban de compras, and that means every Saturday the ladies would go shopping, and because that's a repeated action, like every Saturday the ladies would go shopping, that's when you would use the imperfect tense. Another example where you use the imperfecto tense for an ongoing action is mi papá cocinaba cuando entré a casa, and that means my dad was cooking when I came in the house. So it's like an interrupting action. So like you walked into the house while your dad was cooking, and so that stopped it, and it's in the past. So you would use the imperfecto tense.
Another example of a phrase that would go in imperfect tense is eran las 3 de la tarde, and this basically means it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which is a time.
Alright, another example of talking about a certain date that you would use imperfecto for is era el 9 de mayo, and that is it was May 9th. You're talking about it as May 9th already passed, and it's in the past, and you're talking about a date, so you would use the imperfect tense.
El pero. El pero. El pero.
Yo jugaba el basketball todos los días. Yo conducía mi carro todos los días.